Buongiorno! Buongiorno Milano! ¿Cómo está? Bien? Bien. Grazie. Miei amici. Mi grande famiglia. I will apologize now because my Italian is very small. Next time I come back, my promise is that I will know more. So, good morning. I'd like to thank all of the people that have made today possible. This has been a program 3 years in the making to get here today. It feels very good to be here today. So I'd like to thank Ilkode, Silvano, Gwen, Maria Rosa, all of the people in the organization. I'd like to thank Marco Edzioni, my publisher. And I'd like to thank all of you for making this day possible. I do not know everyone in this audience. There are approximately 1,000 people in this room. If you're in this room today, I don't know you personally, but I know this about you. And I can say this with absolute certainty. If you're in this room, you are the person in your family, in your workplace, in your circle of friends. You are the person that other people have always thought is a little bit different. Is that true? Yeah. Not bad. Just different. Because you look at things differently. You have a different way of seeing the world. And we laugh at that sometimes. On the one hand. But I also know this. I know that when your family and the people in your workplace and your circle of friends, when their lives fall apart, when their marriage, their perfect marriage ends in a day, and when their career falls apart, and when their health fails, that you're the one that they come to. They come to you and they say, "What happened? What happened to my life?" Because you have the courage to see the world in a different way. You have the strength to live your life in a different way. And this is very, very important, and this is why we're here today. We're here today to do something very powerful, very important. Let me ask a question. How many people in this room believe that you have a power within your body that is not fully used? How many believe that? Okay, how many believe that the power is there first? Do you believe the power is there? Okay, my question, why don't you use it? Why aren't we using that power? There's a reason why. And that reason is what we're here to do today. In the Western world, in the modern world, we base our understanding of our lives and the universe upon science. And I was trained as a scientist. And science is good. And sometimes science is wrong. There are two places where science has made false assumptions about you, about me, about our universe, about this world. Two places. And we're going to identify what those places are, and we're going to explore them today. Because it changes everything. It changes everything when we understand the truth where science made the mistake. First of all, science tells us that the space in the emptiness of the universe is truly empty. And we know that that is not true. That the space between you and me, and the space between the stars, they say is empty. But that's not true. Nothing could be further from the truth. Because there's something in that space. And that something is what gives us the power to heal our bodies and to bring peace to our world and to change this world if we understand the language to speak to that stuff that is in the emptiness. But science tells us there's nothing there, number one. Number two, science tells us that the inner experience in your heart, in my heart, that our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our prayers, our beliefs in our bodies have no effect on the world beyond our bodies. Do you believe that? I'm going to tell you, there is a language. There is a language that lives in every human that walks this earth. It's a language of no words. It's a language of human emotion. It's a language that was lost to Western traditions 1,700 years ago. But it's a language that has been remembered in ancient and indigenous traditions. So if you're like me, you'd like to know what this day is all about. Do you know what today is all about? Do you even know what we're going to do? Would you like to know? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. The bottom line, these are false assumptions. There is something in the emptiness. There is no empty space. It is alive. It is pulsing. It is living. It is intelligent. There is a field of energy that holds everything together, and you and I are part of that field. What we're going to do today, the bottom line, we're going to share the science that tells us, number one, that the field is there. Number two, we're going to discover that our bodies and our world are the materialization of that field. From the unreal to the real, from the invisible to the visible, from the probability of quantum possibilities to the reality of our physical world. And number three, we'll find that the language of human emotion, it's a language you already know. Everyone knows this language. We're going to learn how to use this language to speak to this field, the divine matrix, in a way that is meaningful and useful in our lives. How many feel now that something really big is happening in our world today? You think something really big? Does the world feel different to you? Does it feel different? It's bigger than Iraq, bigger than George Bush, bigger than who knows. Do you feel that? It is. In 2003, scientists published a report telling us that this is a time unlike any other time in the history of the earth or the history of humankind. What they say is this. They said there are 5 scenarios that are unfolding. 5 scenarios that are happening right now. And any one of those scenarios, if it goes to completion, could end our civilization, could end our world as we know it. If any one goes to completion, all 5 of them are happening right now. This is a time unlike any time in recorded human history. But the mystery is that no one knows how this time will end, because you and I are choosing that outcome right now. And we're doing it in ways that we're only beginning to understand through the new science that tells us that we are not victims of this world. You are not a victim of your world. You don't have to suffer and live in disease and grow old the way that we've believed that science tells us. We don't have to use war to solve our problems. And we're living a time when all of those things come together right now. And what gives you and me the power to participate is the fact, and it is a fact, that this field of energy exists and that every one of you is speaking to this field every day. The question is, do you know what you're saying to the field? Do you know what you're saying? How many in here are fans of the Sufi poet Rumi? Any Rumi fans? Rumi? Wow. Okay, Rumi. Rumi says, what strange beings we are. He says that sitting in hell, at the bottom of the dark, we are afraid of our own immortality. I think there's probably a lot of truth to what Rumi says, and it may go even deeper. It may go even deeper. What if we're not so afraid of our immortality? What if we are afraid of our power to heal the hell that we create in this world? What if we're afraid of the power within us to heal the suffering? If we had that kind of power, does it truly frighten us? Maybe on a subconscious level. Maybe that's what's happening. I'm going to share a story with you. It's a true story. It's a story of the birth of two baby girls, twins, and they were born prematurely. 7 weeks premature. And in the United States, there's a protocol, there is a practice. Practice is good? Okay. There is a practice. I want to thank our translators in this room right here for helping us. Thank you so much. They're working very hard today, I can tell. There is a practice in the United States when babies are born prematurely. The first thing they do is separate the babies. Now, can you imagine living in the womb of your mother for 6 or 7 or 8 months and living close to another being, your twin brother or your twin sister, and hearing the heartbeat of your mother every day and the heartbeat of your twin every day, and suddenly you're taken from that environment. And the first thing that happens is you're separated, and they put one twin, one premature baby in one incubator, and the second baby in a second incubator, under the hot lights of the intensive care unit in the hospital. They put them in separate rooms, lying on their stomachs, face down. That's what they do with the new babies, the premature babies. So these two baby girls came into the world, and this is what happened. They were separated, taken to different rooms, and immediately one of the little girls began to fail. Her vital signs began to drop. She was dying. There was a nurse who was working at the time, and the nurse said, "I must do something or this baby will die." She said, "I'm going to break the rules. I'm going to break the protocol." And she reached in, picked up the young baby that was dying. She took her into the intensive care unit with her sister, and you know where the story's going. You know what happened. She put the weaker girl in the incubator with the stronger girl. But this is where the story gets really interesting. And this is what tells me what I'm about to share with you is something that we are born with. It's not something that we learn, because here is what happened. They put the weaker baby girl in with the stronger one. And immediately the stronger one reached out with her arm and placed her arm around the shoulders of her baby sister. And the minute she did that, the instant she did that, her sister's vital signs stabilized. And she got stronger and stronger and stronger, and they both lived. Okay, can you feel that feeling? Can you feel that? See, I can see you're holding your heart. Some of you have tears in your eyes. Why? That feeling That feeling is a language. That feeling is a power that lives inside of your body. If I had walked onto this stage and said, now, have that feeling, it may have been hard to do. But you saw an image that gave you a reason for that feeling. You're still crying. It's a powerful story. It's a powerful image. It's true. And the two girls lived, and they're doing very well today. That feeling is something that does not happen in your mind. It happens in your heart. The image and the story went directly to your heart. It bypassed your mind. It bypassed the filters. It bypassed the logic, the questions, the conditioning, the judgment. It was just a feeling. Today, modern science is beginning to understand that that feeling that happens inside of our bodies has a direct effect on the stuff our world is made of, on the atoms and the molecules of our physical world. How many in this room like science? Do you like science? How many do not like science? Well, this is fun science. Because what I'd like to do today, the first part of this day, I'm going to share with you the science that is so new. It is not yet in the textbooks, on the one hand. It's not in the textbooks yet. On the other hand, it is the science that you and I and our children will use to solve the problems that we're leaving in the world today. It's a very different way of thinking about things. So, for the next few moments, I would like to share with you the science. And I think you'll enjoy the science very much, because it gives us a way to understand what we will see next. After we understand the science, I'd like to invite you into the monasteries of Tibet, into the monasteries of Egypt and Peru, because it's in those places that the wisdom is kept of the language of our hearts, the wisdom in their cultures that was lost in our cultures. So as we go through the day, I'm sharing the science, and then we will go into the ancient wisdom that describes the science in another language. And then we will see miraculous video in here of that science applied to create healing inside the body of a living human. We will see a woman that has been diagnosed with cancer, and we can see inside of her body through ultrasound, through a sonogram. And we can watch this practice of human emotion, focused human emotion, heal that cancer in less than 3 minutes for one person. And then we'll see the same principle applied for peace in the Middle East during the Israeli-Lebanese war in the early 1980s, because it's the same principle. And then we'll have the opportunity in this room to learn the language that creates those miracles. Is that okay? Are you okay if we do that today? So, okay, good. Thank you. So the question, how much power? How much power do we really have to change our world, to change our lives, to change our bodies? How much power do you believe that we really have? The question that we're really asking is, who are we? Who are we? And this is the great mystery and the controversy in the language of science. Are we simply observers, passive observers in this universe, watching the world go by, or are we powerful creators? As our most cherished religious and spiritual traditions have always said, Are we actually powerful creators that have forgotten how to use our power? Well, this is the great question that has been asked by scientists for 400 years. When